Don't you hate wrestling with predictability? The garbage man, the sexy boy, boring ass TV? How did I get to work in here? Somebody tell me, please. The WWF is confusing to me. With Vince as mean as you've ever seen. I told old Patterson I'm done here in June. When a sudden voice inside me whispered, Vinny, don't sell your dream so soon. And everywhere I look, there's a Ted with a hand to hold on to. And everywhere I look, there's a place and a promotion who needs you. And it's there you'll book when you're lost out there and you're all alone. And WCW's waiting to carry you home. It's there you'll book. And it's there I'll book. A doobity-ba-ba-ba, headed to Atlanta and listen to this podcast. It's all right, even though it fucking makes fun of everything I've ever done.
Backbone Wrestling Network. Welcome back to episode 25 of Are You Smarter Than Vince Russo's WCW? I was trying to think of a sports star for number 25. I can't think of anyone. Let me ask my partner here. He's the backbone of the Backbone Wrestling Network. He's on every podcast here. Logan Crossland. Logan, how are you doing today? And can you tell me a sports star that's number 25? I know Matt Souza's yelling at his screen right now.
Huge baseball stars. I had to look it up as well, but Barry Bonds was number 25, as was Ricky Henderson, and apparently George Brett was also 25. So those are three number 25s right off the top. Doesn't look like anybody too famous in basketball, but that's three pretty famous baseball 25. So there you go.
Yeah, those three are pretty good. R.I.P. Ricky Henderson and R.I.P. to Barry Bonds' original head. I remember Logan. This is totally off topic, but whatever. It's my podcast. I wrote a paper about Barry Bonds in college, and I remember his head grew from 7 3/4, Logan, to 9 1/2.
Oh,
when he was on the Giants. Human heads don't grow that big, and as someone with a large noggin, my fitted hat size is 7 3/4, and my head's huge. His head can only be so much bigger. Like, that's gigantic. But,
Yeah, they had to customize his goddamn hat. There's no way. Imagine the helmet, how big the helmet was that he fucking wore. Unreal.
It's insane. But, you think he should make the Hall of Fame? I think he should have an asterisk beside it, but I think he should.
Yeah, I mean, you can put an asterisk beside it or whatever, but, like, I don't want to repeat anything everybody said for years, ever since it was kind of become a topic, but he had Hall of Fame-ish type numbers before he kind of started
with the Pirates
and all that. So I think he was probably good enough just to get on that merit. And like, I know steroids gave him an advantage and blah, 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 and Sosa and McGuire and blah, blah, blah and all that. But like, that was like the hottest time for baseball. That was when everybody was invested. Everybody was in. Everybody wanted to see them just hit bombs over and over and over again. It was, arguably in probably our lifetime, the most popular time for the sport. And, ever since that, I don't think it's particularly recovered now. I don't know if it was because of that and all the purists kind of fell out of it. And, nobody's really kind of emerged as like this next huge star that has captured the, whatever. Because there's the Trouts, the Otanis, and all that kind of stuff. I think it's starting to pick up popularity, but like during that time, it was huge, and you can't discount that. And like, I know it's wrong. I know they cheated, quote unquote, but if everybody was doing it at the time period, you can't take out an entire generation of baseball players. But we're probably never going to see those guys in the Hall of Fame, but I think they should be.
Yeah, I think they should put just make it like the steroids wing and throw in like Bonds, Clemens, A-Rod, all these people that got busted. It's just like crazy. But if you enjoyed that sports talk, check out Backbone Sports Zone. Drops every 2 weeks here on the feed. It's myself, Logan Crossland, and hosted by Matt Souza. Perfect segue right there, Logan. What's not a perfect segue, as I can't come up with anything, is this first Thunder of 2000 tonight, which is in Florence, South Carolina. So we are staying in South Carolina. Nitro was in Greenville. So we kick off and we see highlights of Monday night and how it's Terry Funk as the commissioner. Then we see at the very end how the NWO had kidnapped Arn, and we actually see him still being held hostage as he's being led into the arena today. Cameraman that didn't try to stop him. But instead of anything else, we get match one. We get our forgotten cruiserweight champion, Medusa, who comes out with Spice. And she's facing Asia for the cruiserweight title, which I never thought we would have a woman versus woman match for the cruiserweight title, but that tells you what the powers that be think of it. So we see the issues with Revolution and Duggan and the issues with Revolution and Asia. Asia just comes out by herself. And then, Logan, here's where my first of the show started, was Oklahoma's music comes out because I know what's coming with this. We haven't seen him since Starrcade, which is kind of shocking. He comes out, he calls the announcers the B and C team. And then he starts shitting on Medusa about how she should, is just a woman. She should just be barefoot and pregnant and at home cooking dinner, and how the cruiserweight title is a man's title. During this time, Revolution comes out. If you're wondering what's happening in the ring, your guess is as good as mine, because they're literally focusing on Oklahoma for this part. And then we go back in the ring just for this, with Medusa does a flare flop in the corner, then hits a suplex. Shane distracts the ref. And Dean looks like he's about to hit Medusa, but Perry Saturn runs in and hits Asia. And then Medusa hits her German suplex, and it's over. After the match, Shane and Dean ask Perry what he's doing. He doesn't really get an answer. Because at the same time as this going on, guys, Medusa gets on the announce table and calls Oklahoma pathetic. And the Medusa gets on the mic and says that Oklahoma's pathetic and the powers that be can kiss her ass. Right after that, the Filthy Animals music hits. And then we are told that Oklahoma hit Medusa with the barbecue bottle, which we don't see. Filthy Animals run in for no reason. I have a note here that too much shit is fucking happening, that like the cameras can't even cut to it. We're told that the Medusa stuff happens, and we actually see her like on the ground covered in barbecue sauce. Logan, this was just a nothing match. I know Russo loves doing match one, and then like we go to the announce table, and then like we get promo in the ring, but it's like 25 million different things happen here in the first five minutes of the show. Like, we had Filthy Animals run in for no reason. There's never, the never-ending story. Part 3 is just Revolution just versus the Filthy Animals. That's what that movie is. This Oklahoma and Medusa feud that's came virtually out of nowhere. They've had no interaction before that. I mean, Medusa called out the powers that be when they first started, but that was dropped very quickly for her to be lusting over Evan Courageous. And now they're feuding. It's just a clusterfuck, man.
Yeah, and I don't really think they've called out that Oklahoma is at Ferrara. They may have. I'm not sure. I think they might have mentioned it once or twice, but they haven't really focused in too much on that he is one of the powers that be technically. But Yeah, I mean, the pretty out of nowhere feud for sure. Um, and yeah, like you said, Oklahoma joins commentary and provides a couple of quote unquote gems right off the bat, with the woman needing to know their place and all that shit, that would never even be in the idea stage at this point. Uh, in the times that we're living in and stuff like that. So it was definitely of the time then, but definitely out of place in 2025. And then yeah, the continued explosion, it seems, of the revolution as Perry screws Asia once again. I'm glad the match was short. What we did see was not all that great. Neither of these women are particularly that talented. And yeah, the filthy animals and revolution thing. I'm hoping that. Well, I mean, I think it has to end pretty soon based on certain things, but I'm hoping it was at least supposed to end, even when what we're about to get to. So I'm hoping it was going to end pretty soon, anyways.
Yeah, it's so what the original plan was, Logan, per the Meltzers I've looked at, was for Asia to get with the filthy animals and for Tori Wilson to re-debut and be with Revolution. I have no idea how they would have gotten to this, but it sounds like this means that feud was going to continue on because Russo had 20 million gimmick matches with these guys, and somehow the feud's still ongoing. I really thought when they had that, what do you call it, cage and chains match or whatever, where they have to tie him up in the cage. Caged Heat. Caged Heat.
Yeah.
I thought that was the end of it, and that seemed to be the end of it, but it's not because, like, as you remember, the filthy animals like exploded the next week, but that is not the case, sadly. So Tenay welcomes us in, and he talks about Terry Funk being here and he being the commissioner as well. He also runs down the rest of the evening. I don't know if you noticed that the Chronicon thing messed up and started talking about the DDP stuff early when he was talking about the rest of the show, Logan.
That's funny.
But we're told DDP is talking about Kimberly, and Buff is announced for later. The new tag champs are here, which are Crowbar and David Flair, which is outside of Rick Steiner and Judy Bagwell, probably the worst tag champs ever. Booker T and Stevie Ray are here. Tenay says we're going to have a bunkhouse brawl with Jeff Jarrett versus Norman for the U.S. title. Then we're having David, Flair, and Crowbar versus the Filthy Animals of Conan and Kidman for the tag titles. A shoot fights rules match of Wall versus Jerry Flynn. We got Bam Bam versus Kevin Nash. And then so of those matches, Logan, do any of them talk to you about what you want to see?
I mean, at a certain point in history, Bam Bam versus Nash probably would have been pretty good, but really out of shape, Bam Bam Bigelow and kind of demotivated Nash probably ain't bringing too much to the table. But yeah, none of those particularly speak to me, I would say. Flynn and Wall could be fun, but I know it's going to be something schmozzy with probably Tank getting involved. But if they gave them time and let them kind of do their thing, it probably could be a good physical match. But we all know that with Russo at the helm, that probably ain't going to happen.
Give them time in this climate, Logan? You lost your mind.
I know.
So out comes Hoovy and Psychosis. Hoovy gets on a mic and says, finally, the juice has come back to Greenville. As I mentioned earlier, they're in Florence. Hoovy goes over to the announce table and calls Tony the jabroni. Hoovy tries to kick Tony off the announce table. Tony says he's not going anywhere. Psychosis literally grabs Tony and forces him up. Hoovy is back on commentary. This brings out Terry Funk, and Terry Funk attacks Psychosis and Hoovy. He powerbombs Psychosis through the announce table. Funk then calls out the NW. Yeah, it was sick. I was like shocked he was able to get like Psychosis is kind of a big man for a luchador, and he got him up and powerbombed him. Basically just to show that like he's the man in charge and won't take any shit, which I thought was pretty nice. Then Funk calls out the NWO on the mic and says we can do this the easy way or the hard way. Easy way is them bringing Arn down here now. The hard way is if he has to come back there and take him. The NWO music hits. Terry calls them sons of bitches, which surprisingly was not muted, Logan, because we've had a lot of mutes on, especially Thunder recently, but that was not muted. It's just Jeff Jarrett that comes out of the NWO. and says, "Don't get your panties in a wad." He says, "You want arm." But before NWO delivers him, we have demands. Jeff said we will be out in an hour or so. Jeff says we have to do some more torture to old Double A. Terry says, "You lay a hand on him, it'll be the last thing that you do." Jeff says, "I have something for you. I have something for you. Don't piss me off." Terry is screaming he wants Arn down here. We never hear Jeff Jarrett's demands, Logan. It's clear that I know Funk. I think Funk would be good if he's playing second fiddle to Flair right here, because Flair would have been more believable. Of like, come, I want Arn right now, but Flair was like, "Fuck this, I'm not doing this." So like, we're doing the best we can here. But it just lays out our show long storyline of Terry wanting Arn Anderson back because backstage is apparently a labyrinth, Logan.
Exactly. I don't think Jarrett lists out the demands because Terry doesn't really let him. He kind of cuts them off before he could list what they want. So I think that's what kind of happens there. But the juice and Psychosis, that stuff was pretty funny, and Funk destroying Psychosis through the table was interesting to see. The table like kind of crumpled but kind of didn't, so it was kind of it was especially brutal because of that. Terry thinking there was any chance that the NWO was going to do anything the easy way. He shouldn't have even brought up the easy way version of whatever was going to happen there, because they ain't going to take it. They're going to take it the hardest way possible. That's what she said. They have demands, and hopefully we'll get to hear those maybe at some point.
What are they? We don't know!
We don't know! But, yeah, interesting segment. We'll see kind of what happens throughout the night.
Yeah, I mean, that's what Russo is pretty good at, Logan, as we've seen, is like these show-long storylines. So I enjoy them. He's not good on like plotting like week to week, but like show-long stuff, he's pretty good at for the most part. So we have a commercial break. We come back. Mean Gene is with Revolution. Mean Gene asks the Filthy Animals if the War with the Filthy Animals is over. Shane says it's far from over, and he challenges them to a 6-man tag for Sold Out, and that this time they have a mystery partner. Hoovy walks up and says he wants Mean Gene's job. Mean Gene just fucking gives it to him. And then we cut away to NWO beating up Arn backstage, which is just like them hitting him with a baseball bat in the gut, because he really can't do much with him. Arn's basically like Bret Hart in his last WWF run, where like he gets like some shitty US title change, but it's because the Hart Dynasty literally took out the Miz. Yes, that really happened. Check out The Year We Fear. Coming soon to Backbone.
As soon as we finish this pod, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, that's a joke. As soon as we finish this, 2032. Somehow Mean Gene lost his job, gave up his job for all of 15 seconds because he's out in the ring and he calls out Booker T. Booker T comes out, and Gene says he's been shocked by the actions of Stevie Ray recently, said that the sibling rivalry has gotten out of hand. Booker T says it started when Stevie Ray got hurt, which is wrong, because Stevie Ray, if he'd been paying attention to his own storylines, Logan, he would know that Stevie Ray was suspended. And Stevie Ray even says he was suspended later on, but I digress. Booker T says he was getting his ass kicked and he someone to watch his back. He said he called on midnight. Booker T says that him and Stevie Ray got to get back on track. Says he wants Midnight and Stevie Ray in his corner. He says my brother and Midnight need to come together, and then he needs Stevie Ray out here and wants him back. Stevie Ray comes out and says, "Shut up, man." Stevie Ray says Midnight ain't ready and has made him lose. Stevie Ray then says he started Harlem Heat and then he wants a match with Midnight tonight, and says he will beat her into a conniption, Logan, which I don't know what that is, but that sounds pretty bad for Midnight. Booker T says the match has to be fair and square, and they put steps on this. If Stevie Ray wins, it'll just be Booker T and him. If Midnight wins, it'll be the three of them. Stevie Ray agrees. Then we see David Flair and Daphne walking around. But Logan, we're getting some headway in this Stevie Ray Booker T thing. I mean, the last time we saw them, Stevie Ray laid everyone out with a flapjack. I know if you hit me with a flapjack, me and you might not be podcasting for a while. I'm not trying to tag team together a week later.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they're kind of past the point of no return, which kind of and the stipulations on the match pretty quickly laid out what was going to happen. Stevie's been willing to attack them lately, so obviously he was probably going to be willing to do that again if things didn't go his particular way in the match later. But we'll see how that kind of plays out. But yeah, Gene gives up the idea of doing the interviews and stuff backstage to Hoovy, and then seemingly goes right back and does the same thing in the ring. So I don't know what that was all about, and then the NWO continues to beat Arn down backstage as he has his big bruise on his face, and his shirt and stuff is all tattered and stuff. So, but yeah, the Harlem Heat stuff interesting, but it's another one of those things that probably kind of needs to play out in the fullest way it can.
Yeah, I need them to just break up now and let Booker T do what he needs to do. But I know we're going to get some bullshit that's coming our way, Logan, because this feud was a WrestleCrap, was on the WrestleCrap website, which we will get to. Sort of, we'll explain later. So we come back from commercial break. We see the NWO still torturing Arn. And then we get an inception because we see David Flair watching TV on the back of Arn being tortured by the NWO. Daphne's laughing, but David actually looks conflicted. So we're getting some character growth from David Logan. But we got match 2. It's PG-13 and Chavo Guerrero versus 3 Count. My personal favorites besides Evan Courageous. I actually just like Gregory Helms or Shane Helms here. Wolfie D has a mic and does his Memphis-based rap, basically saying they're all trash and everything. Chavo comes out with his briefcase, and then 3 Count comes out. I don't know if you noticed, Logan, but Shannon Moore had a Trent Dilfer jersey on from the Bucks.
He did.
It was pretty dope. I enjoyed it. And Gregory Helms Shane Helms here just had like a 3 Count jersey, like he made it home. It looks like, it said like 1, 2, 3, 3 Count, and like I don't know what Evan Courageous was wearing because he's a fucking loser. But
he was wearing like a Fubo jersey. I'm pretty sure it was like North Carolina blue or whatever.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Like
I mean, I don't know, but it was something to that effect, like one of those like
Fubu jerseys,
designer like kind of jersey kind of things. Yeah.
All right. So this is another short match, gang. So the match starts with Shannon attacking Chavo, but Chavo was able to get in front of a charge, and he actually attacks all 3 at a 3 Count when he's whooping their ass. We found out that Medusa versus Oklahoma is going to happen for the Cruiserweight title. It sold out. They announced it during this match. And then we see PG-13 getting beat up by Evan Courageous, and he actually does a sweet springboard dive to Wolfie D. I will say he does bust out a cool move every once in a while. It's like when they would chant, "You can't wrestle" at Cena, and then he busts something out. He's like, "You still suck," type deal. And then we have all 6 men fighting, and then Chavo went for Tornado DDT, but Shane Helms hit Chavo with like the 3 Count green circle, and Shannon pins him after that. And then we get the 3 Count dance and lip sync after the match, which the lip syncing is horrible. They're not even trying, Logan. Like you could tell, like
they're not trying to dance either. It's terrible.
Yeah, if I ever met Shane Helms, despite me being a huge Green Lantern fan, and so is he, I think I would ask him about 3 Count instead of like the Green Lantern shit. But that would just waste me and his time with that. And then we see David Flair leaving Daphne and Crowbar to go search for Arn with his own personal crowbar, his weapon. Anything you want to add about that match?
I just thought it was a mess. It was a mess from the beginning to the end. 3 Count. I think Shannon and Shane are pretty talented. I don't know if they quite are at their fullest potential at this point yet, but they will get there. I think they're both pretty good. Courageous is terrible. Anytime he was out of the ring was the best parts of the match. And then PG-13 is just kind of whatever. And Chavo, though we've enjoyed kind of his salesman stuff in the backstage, I don't know that he's was really fit in this match per se with these other guys. So, but yeah, it's, the 3 Count performance afterwards was pretty funny, but not too much going on in this one, and it was pretty messy for sure.
So the list of shirts that I want from doing this podcast, Logan, that I'm going to get us one day. They are the Coach Buzz shirt, which Glacier does sell on his website, a Funk You t-shirt, and now I want a 3-count t-shirt. And looks like Shane Helms has a 3-count t-shirt on his pro wrestling tees. So
Amazing.
Next time I see you, I may just be delivering t-shirts. You may not even have to pack t-shirts.
Bring him to Florida in the summer.
Yeah. And you just wear like obscure 90s wrestling t-shirts, which would pop maybe just me. Possibly Sean too.
Buzz Stern, wasn't that his name?
Yeah, Buzz Stern.
Yeah, okay. That's what I thought.
Yeah, I mean the Funk You one everyone knows, but like a 3-count one or a Buzz Stern shirt where it's I need more Buzz Stern in my life, to be honest.
Yeah. I think we need to learn the 3-count dance and song before we see each other again and perform that for everybody.
Yes. I think we can talk Jake into it.
Oh no, Sousa has to do it for sure.
Yeah, but Sousa won't be in Florida.
Yeah, but we could do it at the next Mania. We could do it in Nolans.
Oh, that's what we're gonna have to do. All right, we got a year to prepare. All right, we'll do this. Sorry, there'll be video for this in a year from now, guys. God, could you imagine, Logan? That would be so dope. All right,
I bet we would do it way better than them. So that's all that matters.
I need the fake little microphones that they have that they're singing, and now I'm excited. All right, I got to continue the podcast just for this, and see what other obscure wrestling shirts me and you can get. Because I think if I get a 3-count shirt, that would be a gym shirt. But so we come back from commercial break. Terry Funk's attacking his own security guards as they haven't found Arn yet. Because as I said, this fucking place is a labyrinth. Like, people are getting lost looking for Arn. They just disappear into the void. I don't get it myself. And then we see quote-unquote highlights of this Jerry Flynn versus Tank Abbott feud, which bravo to Vince Russo for trying like this shoot fighting shit. He's always had a hard on for it because they used to have those Lions Den matches in WWF, Logan, which I don't know if you remember those. It's where Owen Hart supposedly paralyzed Dan Severn and all that shit. And it's just horrible. But that's what we're getting here too. And we'll get it in the summer of 2000. And this leads us to match 3, which is shoot fight rules, which is the Wall versus Jerry Flynn. At the start of this match, guys, Tenay says the only way to win is via knockout or submitting to lose. This is said. This is on record that Tenay says this. I actually put this note in before I knew what happened in the match. So you should know none of these are going to happen in the match, but it's still going to be over. I just want y'all to know this. So the match starts and they circle each other, and then because Russo needs someone on commentary every match, Tank Abbott comes out, who is about as useful on commentary as tits on a bull. That's how useful he is.
He was terrible.
Just horrible. I mean, he did have a couple one-liners when he called Jerry a martial arts moron, and then that Jerry Flynn fights in pajamas because he was in his gi. While this is happening, Jerry throws Wall to the outside into the guardrail, and he throws him back in the ring. They're both back in the ring. Wall hits a clothesline on him, and then Wall's choking Jerry Flynn, but for some reason the ref stops him. It's a shoot fight. The shit should be legal. Wall slams Flynn, and he goes to the middle rope, and he misses the leg drop. Flynn chops Wall and then kicks him. Flynn actually gets like this sweet like running spin kick that he hits on Wall, who Wall was in the corner, and it knocks Flynn out the ring. This allows him to taunt Tank Abbott, and then Flynn's about to get back in the ring with like a dummy. He turns his back, and Abbott then just punches out Flynn, and then rolls him in the ring. And instead of just being a knockout, Wall pins him, which is not one of the ways you could win. That's specified. And that's how the match ends. Then Abbott comes in, knocks out the Wall, and he knocks out Doug Dillienger, which I love Doug Dillinger's fat ass getting knocked out because you could tell he's probably a donut cop because he used to be a legit cop in Charlotte. And I'm sure he let all pretty girls go after they blew him. You know, all that stuff. He's just like a shit cop. So, look, Logan, another shit match. Russo has. It's like he doesn't have to put together the matches. You have agents for that, or trust the wrestlers in the ring. Probably not the Wall and Jerry Flynn, but how are we going to have a match that can only end in knockout or tap out and with a fucking pin? Tenay told us the rules 30 seconds before, Logan.
Yep. These matches where they have these very specific rules that they often and almost always don't follow through to the end is starting to get a little old for sure. Like you said, Abbott's on commentary and he's pretty terrible. He obviously wasn't trained at all to say what to say or how to speak, or they didn't really coach him. He just went out there and made fun of Jerry Flynn the whole time. I thought the match was a good little strike fest for the most part. It was just a lot of strikes back and forth. So not much talent per se was exemplified, I guess. But I thought I thought they threw a few good bombs there and there. Wall wins by pinfall somehow. Watching Doug Dillienger get knocked the fuck out for the second time in as many weeks was definitely a good time.
You just play that shit on a loop for me, Logan, and they'd be in business now.
Yep.
It's like when Doug Dillienger gets knocked out, that's like coffin droppers for me. I think that's how I feel with me. It's like my comfort food. So David runs into Terry Funk in the back. They're both now looking for Arn. Like I said, it's a fucking labyrinth. They better not split up. Horror movie rules. One of them will die. One thing I did notice about this NWO, Logan, is that all the wrestlers have their own music, but it starts off with the NWO music and then it transitions, which I think is very tight. Something I enjoyed a lot. Sadly, we won't get it for too much longer, but I noticed it this time and when Nash came out as well. But and it's very sweet. It's a highlight for sure. So Jeff Jarrett comes out for match 4 for the U.S. title. It's Jeff Jarrett versus Norman Smiley in a bunkhouse brawl match, which, if you remember, Logan, this was Dustin Rhodes' primary match, but he hasn't been seen since Starrcade, so this is what Jeff Jarrett's known for now. So here we go. Jeff comes out with his own set of plunder. Norman comes out in Gamecocks, which is South Carolina's football gear. He has his own wheel barrel of plunder as well. We're told that Thunder moves to Wednesday next week, Logan. So that's pretty cool. They'll still get thrashed in the ratings. Spoiler alert. Norman's getting in the ring and Jeff throws a trash can at him and beats him with the trash can and the trash lid. Norman is screaming. Jeff hits him with another trash can. Norman's hit with a chair and they get back in the ring and Jeff starts hitting Norman with a broom. Norman then trips Jeff into the trash can and starts beating him down. And Norman's beating Jeff with the plunder around the ring. Jeff gets a foot up and hits Norman with a cowbell, but Norman ducked. Norman then hits Jeff with the cowbell, but somehow we've still got rope breaks in these matches, Logan, which I feel pissed you off to no win when Jeff got his foot on the rope. So I know how you are about this.
Yep.
And Norman thought he won. Jeff Flynn grabs his guitar for his only guitar shot of the night and hits Norman. Then he hits the stroke and it's over. So before we go to what happens next, this was just a garbage match. Even Jeff Jarrett, who's been our MVP, I felt, was just going through the motions with this match with Norman. Just nothing here. I don't even know why you have Norman out here. Throw Knobs out. At least Knobs isn't the champion. I know he's fighting in the hardcore fatal 4-way, but, throw anyone out here. You get Maestro, something, and it could still be a Buckeyes brawl.
Yeah, you probably could have thrown any of the hardcore guys in here. Hell, throw Finley in there. Have him beat the shit out of Jarrett for a little bit. But yeah, it was a pretty uninspiring hardcore match for sure. Jarrett, like you said, gets his foot on the rope at some point. Why are there rope breaks in a hardcore match? That doesn't make any sense. But yeah, he crushes him with the guitar, hits the stroke, and gets the win. And then I don't know if you went into the post match yet, but not yet. Not much going on here. But Jarrett gets a win, retains his championship. But yeah, not too much inspiring going on here.
Yeah, it was. But then our main story for the night pushes through. Terry Funk comes out with a microphone. He gets in the ring and he pushes Jeff. They trade pushes, and then David comes out behind Jeff and chokes him with the crowbar, the object, not the wrestler. And then Funk handcuffs Jeff Jarrett, and Funk says this lunatic is going to snap his neck like a twig. Funk says the NWO has 2 minutes to get their asses down in the ring. And would you guess, Logan, we get a commercial break during this time. So that's the 2 minutes. We come back and David's still choking Jeff, and Terry was beating Jeff with a trash can lid while he was being choked. The NWO finally comes out with Arn. Nash says Funk has made the biggest mistake of his life. Nash says, you do any more harm to Jeff, they will bury Arn in the cement like Jimmy Hoffa. I added the Jimmy Hoffa part, but that's what he was insinuating. Nash says Funk is here to dismantle the NWO. Nash challenges Funk to a match at Sold Out. If Funk wins, the NWO is disbanded. If Nash wins, he becomes commissioner of WCW. Funk says, are you giving me a choice? Nash says, you ain't got no damn choice. Funk says, you want to become commissioner of WCW? Fine. I mean, he just got the job and already wants to give it up, Logan. But, like, I also feel it's telegraphs, like, what's going to happen at Sold Out, but we'll get there. Even though it's all moot anyway by September. By February. But Funk agrees what makes the match a hardcore match, and NWO will be barred from ringside. Funk says he wants to fight Bret Hart tonight. Funk says this old fart doesn't want to be WCW champ. He will leave that to Sid, but he wants to kick Bret's ass. He challenges Bret to a hardcore match tonight. Bret says, you want to challenge me tonight for the gold? Funk says he don't give a damn about the title and wants to embarrass him. Bret says he's not hardcore, but he's hard enough and hard to the core. Can you tell Bret has a fucking concussion, Logan?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, so Bret says he wants to kill him tonight, and then he says, let's do a swap, Jeff Jarrett for Arn. They swap prisoners, and when Arn and Jeff pass each other, Arn attacks Jeff when they pass, but then Bret hits Arn with the baseball bat, and then we go to commercial break. So if you would have told me Bret Hart had a concussion that would end his career, Logan, I would believe it off of these words that I don't know what the fuck he was trying to say with, like, he's hard to the core and he's hard right now. I don't need to know about his PP. He's probably about to get lathered up with some pussy.
He has a wicked boner, kid.
Yeah, but it's I did like them swapping, like, the prisoners, like an Arn being like, fuck you, Jeff, and still hitting him despite getting his ass kicked for 3 days. I don't like how they're already telegraphing that Funk's going to lose the commissionership, Logan. There's no, if this was betting, for Nash to win would be like minus 10,000 right here.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah. He would,
and it's like, we're already doing this. And, like, it just makes no sense from, like, oh, Funk's here to, like, rein in the NWO, and, like, they've made him the commissioner, and now they're like, well, I want to be commissioner too. And, like, why would the WCW executive board be like, hey, why don't you relax, Funk? Like, you're not doing this match. But no, just makes them look like dum-dums, Logan. Just makes them look like dum-dums.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, already putting it up in a match is insane. I almost wonder. I mean, I don't think Nash would leave the NWO, but I almost wonder if other stuff hadn't, obviously gone wrong that is going to go wrong between here and Sold Out. I almost wonder if Nash would have lost and just found a loophole to get back in somehow. But yeah, just an insane thing to already put the commissionership that you're like days into having up at the pay-per-view is insane. But yeah, Bret, not one of his best promos, talks about being hard for some reason.
And hard to the core, Logan.
And hard to the core as well. But I did like the little hostage swap that seemingly happened. But yeah, not a bad little promo, but yeah, pretty much telegraphing that Nash is going to be your new commissioner in a few weeks.
Yeah. So get ready, WCW. So then we go to commercial break. When we come back, we see Tony Marinara and Disco. I'm shocked Tony Marinara lasted this long. I didn't think he would, Logan. But Tony makes Disco go in and get protection money. Disco goes into a convenience store that looks like it was in my hometown. Shout out Peyton's. He goes in the store and Disco asks for the money. The guy says, I don't have any money. So Disco basically trades his Rolex to the guy, and the guy gives him his money. Disco comes back, and then Liza says, like, smack the guy around. Then we go and see David and Terry looking over Arn. He's all fucked up. And then Stevie Ray comes in while this and requests Booker T not be allowed at ringside. And Terry just like shrugs him off and says, okay. This goes to match 5, which is Stevie Ray versus Midnight. Stevie Ray comes out first. Midnight comes out when the powers go back, and it hits the clock strikes midnight. The bell tolls. Match starts with a test of strength. Midnight kicks and punches Stevie Ray and gets a headlock. Stevie Ray shoots from the ropes, and Midnight dodges a clothesline and hits a nice drop kick on Stevie Ray. It's like the only thing she can do, guys. She then tried an Irish whip, but Stevie Ray hit a clothesline. Stevie Ray punches her in the corner and chokes her. You get an Irish whip, and he hits another clothesline. Because all Stevie Ray can do is fucking clotheslines and punches, apparently, in a scoop slam that he does. Then he hits an elbow drop and gets 2 because Stevie Ray stopped the count. And then Stevie picks her up and does an Irish whip in the corner. And then just continues the beat down. Gets her on the ground again, and then hits like a knee drop. Stevie Ray takes her down with a back elbow. He pins her, then lifts her up again. Stevie Ray then gets a chin lock corner. Midnight tries to fight back, but Stevie Ray stopped it with a punch. Stevie Ray then hits a side slam and pulls out the slapjack. This brings out Booker T, who was banned from ringside, but I guess no one fucking told him. He runs down and tells Stevie Ray to beat Midnight fair and square. Stevie Ray gives the slapjack to Booker T, and he slams Midnight again, and she's done. He goes to pin her, but Midnight was playing possum and gets an inside cradle and wins. Stevie Ray is pissed, but Midnight and Booker T celebrate. They all hug in the ring and like to hold their hands up. But then they go celebrate more, and Stevie Ray then picks up Slapjack and hits Booker T at Midnight, basically saying, fuck your stipulation. Your stipulations don't mean shit. And looks like Harlem Heat is broken, Logan. Harlem Heat is broken. This is nothing match. This showed that like Midnight might just be as bad. I know we were singing her praises before, but she's got to be with someone who can wrestle in there, because being there with Stevie Ray, it looked like a match me and you would try to do.
Yeah. As much as she's improved and is probably one of the better, like, untrained people they've thrown in there, she definitely still needs to be in there with somebody that can go. And Stevie Ray in 2000 is not that guy. Maybe at some point in his career he might have been a little better, but he is definitely cooked and not good at this point. So she gets a few shots in early, like you said, but Stevie pretty much beats her ass and just continues to toy with her until he gets a little too, confident in himself, and she sneaks that inside cradle in and gets the win. And yeah, it seemed like they were good with each other, and he was going to be okay with the threesome. Again, that's what she said. Like you said, he gets the slapjack out and takes both of them out, and that seemingly seems to end Harlem Heat, at least for now. So we'll see if they continue to feud going forward, and if maybe Stevie Ray brings somebody in.
I know who he brings in, and it's fucking terrible. But luckily, we only got pay-per-views for
we
that.
Get the consonant
so
match.
So we go back to Mean Gene. Yeah, we do get the consonant match. Jesus. I like to buy Val. I-E, kill me. That's what I like this.
We get the Sesame Street match, as some people call it.
Yeah. So we go back to Mean Gene, and he's with the Filthy Animals in the back. They talk about the challenge for Sold Out and then the tag title match tonight. Despite us only having like 25 minutes left, we somehow still have 3 matches left, gang. So buckle in. Or is it? No, I think it's 2 matches, but a bunch of segments. Might be 16 minutes left, guys.
No,
so
we have 3 matches left.
It's 25 minutes and 3 matches, guys. Logan's correct. Conan says, mystery partner not for Sold Out. We'll stomp over the Revolution graves. Then Hoobie brings a girl for Mean Gene, and Mean Gene and the girl leave together. So Hoobie finally takes over. Hoobie asks Filthy Animals how they're doing. Kimmon says they're winning the tag titles tonight, and Hoobie says that's right because they have the juice. Good commercial break, and we see Terry getting ready for the match. And then we see Gene in the ring, who I keep thinking he's going to go smash some hoes, but that's not the case. He's in the ring, he's flirting with the girl. Says when he's done here with business, they can go back and finish their business. So I guess Gene's going to pop some little blue pills, Logan. So Gene calls out DDP. DDP comes out and they talk about Buff and Kimberly. Gene asks him about the facts between Buff and Kimberly. DDP says Buff ain't doing my wife, Kimberly, but when he was in LA, that son of a bitch was hitting on her every shot he got. DDP says we can bring out Buff right now and do a face-to-face. Gene says he won't come out here. DDP says it wasn't his fault. Bagwell's first wife left him. Was it because Bagwell was cheating on his wife every shot he got? I don't know. DDP then says Bagwell is attractive and then insinuates that Bagwell is gay because it's 2000. The people boo him for being gay. And then Buff Buff can stick his stuff anywhere he wants, which I thought was pretty funny. DDP then insinuates Buff has a small package and says Buff's stuff ain't big enough. Not being called gay, Logan, but saying you have a small dick causes Bagwell to run out, and they have a nice brawl. DDP gets a nut shot and they battle into the crowd. Security finally breaks him up. And as great as his angle was, Logan, Scott Hudson ruins it by saying DDP was shooting. So it's a pretty hot feud, but Hudson, just fucking terrible announcer by putting the real life jargon in there.
Yeah, Scott Hudson ruining a segment, no way. But yeah, I mean, yeah, the mentioning of the ex-wife and the mentioning of all the like the possibility of him being a homosexual didn't pull him out, but him making fun of how big his penis is was thing that brought him out. I think I probably would have been offended by one of the other two things to. Or I would have known where it was going, that he was insulting every part of me at that point. So I probably would have come out when he just said the first one, but took to getting to the small dick to get him out. But yeah, just ridiculous that this is over a relationship that never even happened. But yeah, like you said, I keep thinking Gene's going to leave with this lady, whether she's a prostitute or not. I don't really know. I don't know if she's just supposed to be a stripper or whatever. But yeah, I keep thinking he's going to go and Juice is going to take over. But he seemingly keeps staying around.
Yeah, it's yeah, but we see him right here, Logan. But I do like the feud, like. It feels real because, like, hey, this dude tried to fuck his wife, but then it's like, oh, he's shooting. It's like, Jesus Christ. Okay. So dumb. But, like, it has, like, passion, which we don't see a lot in these feuds. Like, that's what we talked about with, like, Goldberg and Bret. They didn't really, it was Starrcade. They didn't really have, like, something they were feuding over. They didn't really do that at all. And then we saw what happened. We got a shitty buy rate from what I've read. But we go to commercial. We come back and we see Gene with the girl. And Gene says we got to leave. So Gene's finally getting some pussy. And then Hoovie's with Bam Bam. And Bam Bam says he doesn't have time for him. While he's talking to Hoovie, Canyon comes up and breaks a bottle of champagne over Bam Bam. Hoovie says, "Good job, shampoo," which made me laugh. And then this leads us to match 6, which is Kevin Nash versus Bam Bam. Nash comes out ready to fight. We see Bam Bam still down. Steiner and Jeff Jarrett pick up Bam Bam and then hit him with a baseball bat. They put Bam Bam in the wheelbarrow and wheel him out. Bam Bam is out, and he's whipped off the ring, dropped on the arena floor. They make the ref ring the bell, and Nash goes outside and hits Bam Bam with the ball bat. The ref calls it DQ. Nash beats down Bam Bam with the bat. That's literally how the match ends, Logan. It's not even worth discussing. It's just the NWO. It's Nash squashing fucking Bam Bam like it's 1995. That's all it is. It felt personal. No reason. Could have just counted him out. So Bam Bam still wins by DQ. This leads us to goes commercial. Come back for match 7, which is Filthy Animals, which is Conan and Kidman versus Crowbar and David Flair for the tag titles. Kidman and Crowbar start off. Crowbar kicks Kidman and knocks him down. Crowbar shoots Kidman in the ropes, and Kidman gets a head scissors. Kidman runs at Crowbar, and Crowbar hits a handspring elbow. Crowbar pretty athletic, I will say that. I know he's Devin Snorb, was like an indie sensation around this time. So, like, I'm glad he's finally getting a shot here. It just happens sucks with WCW. Crowbar then kicks Kidman in the corner. Crowbar charges and eats a kick, and then Kidman hits a Hurricane Rana. Crowbar tags to David Flair, and David Flair kicks Kidman and then hits a suplex. He gets 2. Kidman then hits like a Baldo bomb and gets 2 as well. Kidman gets a headlock, and Crowbar tags in. Kidman hits Dave with a clothesline, but then he walks into a missile drop kick from Crowbar. Crowbar slams Kidman, then hits a slingshot guillotine leg drop and gets 2. Conan broke up the pin on this. Crowbar slides under Kidman when he was charging him, And Conan runs in and hits a crowbar with a DDT. Crowbar is able to then hit Kidman with a release German when Kidman was trying to tag. After this, Crowbar tried to powerbomb Kidman, but he reversed it into a facebuster, which when Kidman does that, I always lose my mind, Logan, because it looks so fluid. We've seen him do it a couple of times. Kidman tries a shooting star press, but David knocks him off the ropes. Kidman tries for a hurricanrana for the top rope, but Ray, who had came down with the Filthy Animals, held on to Kidman, so Crowbar just ate shit on that one. Kidman then hits a middle rope clothesline. Arn Anderson comes down. And we get a tag to David and Conan. K-Dog hits Rolling Thunder on Flair and takes out Crowbar. Arn is at ringside. Conan hits his facebuster. The ref is distracted, and Arn hits Conan with Crowbar, the object, not the person, as Conan had the Tequila Sunrise on David Flair. Then David pins Conan, and they win. After the match, Revolution comes down and beats down Filthy Animals. Filthy Animals are able to turn the tide as Conan took out Revolution with the lead pipe. I'm tired of David Flair winning because Daddy Arn, God Daddy Arn, keeps fucking helping him, Logan. It's getting old. This is what they did when David was U.S. champ and Flair was president. Didn't work there. Now it sure as shit doesn't work and they're supposed to be baby faces. So I don't like it. It needs to end.
Yeah, this doesn't scream like a babyface angle to me where he's continuing to help him continue to retain the championship. Going back to the Champagne Canyon knocking out Bam Bam. I did love that we got Hoovy calling him, "Oh, shampoo. That was a good shot, shampoo." So that was nice. And yeah, poor Bigelow. Just gets dragged as just lame ass out to the ring in a wheelbarrow and just gets continuously beat down with a bat by Nash. They didn't have to do that to the poor motherfucker. Could have just had a forfeit situation. But luckily, the tag match was a lot of Crowbar and Kidman, which is what it should have been because Conan's a talentless hack, and so is David Flair. So I thought it was a solid match, mainly because it was mostly Crowbar and Kidman in the ring. And yeah, like you said, Arn obviously helps the tag champs retain. And yeah, it really wasn't much of a match, but I thought the action between Crowbar and Kidman was solid for sure.
Yeah, it's like the Crowbar stuff is amazing. David Flair has as much reason to be in the ring as me and you, but then he pulled Stacy Keibler, so what the fuck do I know, Logan? So we go to commercial break and we go to match 8, which is Terry Funk versus Bret Hart in a hardcore match when Bret Hart's brain is jello. Actually, I said that, Logan, and my first note here is poor Bret with his brain being jello right now. So past Scotty and present Scotty linked up on that one. I will say we actually get loud Terry chants for this. We had a collar and elbow tie-up. Bret works over Terry's midsection, and Terry rolls out of the ring. Terry tries to get back in, and Bret punches him. Terry starts throwing chairs back in the ring like it's ECW. He gets back in, and Bret attacks him. Bret throws Terry headfirst in the chair. Bret picks up the baseball bat, hits Terry with it. Bret's punching Terry again. Terry rolls out of the ring. Bret follows him, and Bret throws Terry into the guardrail twice. Bret hits Terry with the chair to the midsection, and then just makes sure Terry loses some brain cells with the. Bret was swinging like fucking Terry Funk was Vince McMahon right there with that chair shot. It was rough, Logan. That one outside of the ring, he fucking brained him with that chair. So Terry gets up, and Bret pushes him back into the ring.
He was trying to pass along some of his concussion to Terry.
Yeah, he thought it was about fucking osmosis or something because god damn. And this is when it gets kind of rough for me to watch, Logan, because I know what's going on with Bret at this time. So Bret is pushed back in the ring, and Funk gets a shot to the midsection and punches him right in the head, Logan. And then he throws Bret out the ring, and Terry hits Bret in the face. So like another concussion. And we see the Power Plant Elite in the crowd. They had talked about them on Nitro, but not Thunder. And then Terry punches Bret in the head again and chops him. Then Funk throws Bret into the hardcore plunder wagon that they have and dunks him to the ground. Tony even says that Bret took a hit on the back of the head, which they say when you have a concussion, Logan, every little hit's like a mini concussion, which is just horrible. Funk's beating down Bret the trash can, and then he goes up top and he misses a moonsault. Bret picks up the chair again and brains Terry. Like, it's bad. Brett then Pillmanizes Terry's ankle. Of course, we get a ref bump in a hardcore match. And then we see Arn trying to put on the ref shirt in the back, but David Flair stops him. David puts on the ref shirt and becomes special guest referee, because if you have a Foot Locker ref shirt, it means you automatically work for Foot Locker, Logan, and you're a special guest referee, apparently.
Absolutely.
And we see that David's locked Arn in like the trainer room. The NWO comes out and beats down Funk with bats and trash can. David Flair comes out with his crowbar, like I said, the object, not his partner. But Nash jumps David Flair in the hallway. The NWO is beating down everyone. Daphne comes out to try to save her man, but she's like shrugged off by them. And then the show ends with Nash powerbombing Funk through the set, and that's how it ends. I like the show long angle with the Arn stuff. I could do without like you get these special ref powers by putting on the fucking shirt. NWO's just running wild. Where the fuck is Sid? He's supposed to be your number one contender. Sold out literally in a week and a half as we're being told this. And it seems like this main event, I know like it was supposed to be the main event. It's not getting a lot of hype right now. It feels like it's more like Funk versus NWO is the main feud, where it should be Sid versus NWO. Sid and Benoit versus NWO.
Yeah, I was saying, I feel like we haven't seen Sid or Benoit in a while. I mean, I know it's probably been more recent than I think, but
Sid was on Nitro.
He was on the last Nitro?
Yeah, because that's when he attacked them with his neck brace, and he had that match. We haven't seen Benoit. We haven't seen Benoit since the Nitro where Sid's car got destroyed.
Okay. I was thinking we hadn't seen either of them since then, but I guess I forgot that Sid spot. But yeah, you mentioned the Vince McMahon, kind of hardcore match that he has eventually. I said Hart gave us a preview in my notes of his WrestleMania 26 outfit, because he had like the long black jean short things going on, and he wore a pretty similar outfit at WrestleMania 26 when he faced Vince in his return match when he came back to WWE. So he gave us a nice preview of that outfit in this one. But yeah, it's one of those matches where you're just waiting for the NWO to come out, and they do, obviously. And they beat down everybody. They beat down Funk. Obviously, Daphne and Crowbar and Flair eventually come out, and they get their asses beat as well. So nobody can really overpower the NWO, and it was nice to see Nash powerbomb Funk through the stage. But yeah, the NWO ends out on top, and this is one of those matches where you're just kind of waiting the whole time to see whenever they come out. So see what kind of brawl that they're going to have. But Sid being the number one contender, I feel like he should have been involved at some point throughout this, but I guess that's too much to ask for.
It really is, Logan. It's like what are we doing type deal? It's just frustrating because they're about to lose their best workers literally in a week and a half. Literally a week and a half, Logan.
Mm-hmm.
Which is 2 episodes for us. 3 episodes.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Pretty disappointing.
Yeah, but that brings an end to another episode, guys. Before we get out of here, Logan, let's run through some of our stats. What was our most absurd? It wasn't anything too over the top this time.
Yeah. Probably just all the stuff and how much stuff happened in that first match with Medusa and Oklahoma, and all of the other stuff with the Revolution, and maybe just so much stuff happening in the opening contest.
I agree with you on that. For what was good, I'm thinking the show long storyline.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they did a good job kind of building that throughout the night. So I would agree with that.
What was bad? David Flair wrestling. Sorry, David.
Tank Abbott talking.
Yeah, I mean, listen, David, you've won at life. You banged Stacy Keibler. I haven't. You got to wrestle and they paid you 6 figures for it.
I'm doing this podcast for free, so don't take it personal.
Yeah.
So we got 8 matches tonight. I got 2 clean finishes, surprisingly, Logan. That breaks our streak of 2 shows in a row with no clean finishes. We got 6 non-clean finishes or non-finishes, 0 pole matches tonight, 4 pole matches overall, 3 gimmick matches tonight. That brings us up to 75 total, which, as you mentioned on our pre-show talk, as this is episode 25, we are averaging 3 gimmick matches per show. And Logan, that's not even counting the ones, because I didn't start doing this till like the 4th or 5th episode, and I never went back for it.
That's true.
Which is insane. Ever since we started doing the guitar shots, we had 1 guitar shot. We're up to 24 total. And how many different things happened tonight, Mr. Crossland?
31. So we had 35 on Nitro. So that's pretty good for a Thunder, almost matching Nitro in that scenario. So,
well, spoiler alert, guys, we had 16 happen in the first 15 minutes.
Yeah, I was about to say, if I counted everything separately that happened in that first segment, it would probably be a lot more, but I kind of all grouped it together in that one.
Yes, and we are stuck at 28 title changes overall, which, Logan, still pretty bad. That's more than 1 a show, and the number's only going to go up.
Yeah, I was just saying, and what we know is going to happen pretty soon. We're going to get quite a few more, so that number is going to rise pretty quickly.
Well, my favorite is when they do the reboot and they strip everyone of the titles. That's going to be like, oh, there's 5 right there, just off the top. There's 5.
There you go. Well, at least they retire the TV title by that point. So,
well, no, I've already counted it as retired.
Yeah, but it's still floating around,
Yeah, Duggan finds it in the trash soon. It's on Saturday night, but thankfully we don't have to watch that. But that brings us to another end of Are You Smarter Than Vince Russo's WCW? I missed the whole point of the show, Logan. After watching this episode, Are You Smarter Than Vince Russo's WCW?
Absolutely. I think he showed some good. I think he showed some smartness with the show long angle and kind of keeping it cromulent throughout the night. But I don't ever think the answer is going to be no to that question. If you ask it, I'm not going to
lie. Yeah, I agree. Maybe the only time they do win this is when they do the reboot. I thought that was a good idea, but I haven't watched that show in, check it, 25 years, Logan. So we'll have to see what happens for that. But that brings us to another end of Are You Smarter Than Vince Russo's WCW? Catch us in 2 weeks. For Logan Crossland, I'm Scott Shiflett. Have a nice night, nice day, nice morning, whenever you're listening.
Bye.